Such a shame you can't really see all my fun pictures because I'm in the way. I'll just read like this. Are these people an a-hole or not? Let's be the judge. I love this game. First story, am I the a-hole for not defending my wife when my sister called her fat? My sister, 27 female, was visiting my wife, 32 female, and me, 33 male, the other day. An important thing to note about my sister is that she has a child, 5 male, with her now ex-boyfriend, 27 male. When my sister found out she was pregnant, she told her then boyfriend that she was pregnant. He wanted to marry her in a shotgun wedding of sorts, but my sister said no. The only information she offered up was that there was no way they would be compatible in the long term, and I don't think it's any of my business to probe or question her about it. Soon after, my sister and her boyfriend broke up, but they established a healthy co-parenting relationship, and they both now have 50-50 custody with stable, well-paying jobs, and they live close by to each other. I'm just trying to get to the point where she calls her fat. My wife strongly thinks that my sister should have gotten married and hates that my sister refers to her ex-boyfriend as her baby daddy. I don't think my sister really cares that she had a child out of wedlock, but every time my wife meets up with my sister, she brings up the fact that she should try to get her boyfriend back and ask him to propose again, and asks why she does not want to marry him, especially since my sister has been single the last 5 years. Girl, what are you doing? Lila, look at the, hold on. I'm gonna show you what this crazy girl does while I'm filming. You're crazy. Oh. Look it. You guys think I'll shoot asleep? No. Go. Whoa. Oh. Okay, boo-boo, chill. You gotta chill. I got film. We gotta chill for a minute, okay? We'll play after. It has gone to a point that she's told me privately that she is fed up with this and asked me to speak to my wife about it, which I have. The other day, my sister visited my wife and I at our house. We're having a normal conversation. My sister was talking about her son entering kindergarten and all the ways that she was preparing him. The convo seemed pretty chill until my wife once again brought up that my sister should try to get married at the courthouse with her ex-boyfriend, and that the other parents would view her as immature and would think of her child as illegitimate if she didn't. Before I could even jump in and say anything to diffuse the situation, my sister was raging and said that my wife should worry about her fat self and losing 100 pounds, in quotations, before worrying about a child, and that a ring can't hide her triple chin, and to worry less about her going to the courthouse and more about her going to the gym. That's so awkward to just be sitting there. Oh. That's like a scene on reality TV. My wife has always been on the bigger side, and I absolutely love and adore her, but it is one of her biggest insecurities. She ended up sobbing while my sister grabbed her things and left. This whole argument took about 2 minutes, and I froze up and I didn't really know what to do. After my sister left, my wife asked why I didn't say anything to defend her to my sister. I was honest, and I said I thought that she was wrong for calling my sister immature and her child illegitimate. While I acknowledged it was wrong for my sister to make the comments she did, I don't think they were completely unprovoked. My wife is now giving me the silent treatment. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Truly, both of their comments were out of line and rude.
That's very rude.
We have an update though. I read your comments and it is clear that you think I am an a-hole for not defending my sister, and you think I'm not an a-hole for not defending my wife. I have called my sister and apologized. She was pretty gracious and accepted my apology. I told my sister that I think she's a great mother and a saint for dealing with these comments for so long. I did not demand that she make an apology to my wife. For those of you concerned that my nephew has heard these remarks, I want to make it clear that when my wife has made these comments, she's made them either when my sister's ex had custody or when my nephew was in another room. Not to excuse the comments, but to address concerned Redditors. As for my wife, she has stopped giving me the silent treatment. She called her mom, my mother-in-law, and after she told her the situation, her mom really chewed her out. She did apologize to my sister, not just for the most recent incident, but for all the other comments. My sister also apologized for the comments she made. My wife and I had a discussion about why she was so fixated on my sister being an unmarried mother. Apparently, some of her more religious friends were judging her for having an unmarried sister-in-law, and she projected that insecurity onto my sister. She also admitted to being jealous of my sister as she was able to have a child, which is a dream of ours. Due to my wife's weight, it is nearly impossible for us to conceive a child. She also expressed general envy for my sister when it came to things like her looks, her job, her maturity. I made it clear that these comments about my sister's marital status should not be made in the future. While I personally think what my sister said was harsh and out of anger, I do not think it is unjustified. She snapped after years, and y'all made it clear that she would be extremely justified to go no contact, so I'm happy that she did not make that decision. I plan on going to marital counseling with my wife. I have reaffirmed that I think she's absolutely beautiful and that we will work through these insecurities together. I want to use this situation to create a stronger marriage and a better relationship with my sister. Just a note for my wife and why she can't get pregnant easily without too much detail. She has PCOS and a BMI significantly over 40. I wanted to get my wife's consent before I shared about the PCOS. Well, I mean, it all worked out in the end. Both of them were wrong for their comments, and they both said sorry, so... Win, win, win. Really, you got off the hook. I feel like it should have been them asking themselves, am I the a-hole? Not you. Next story, am I the a-hole for wishing my friend didn't follow my partner and I to live on a tropical island because she's making our time here a bit crap? I want to live on an island. You know, I like a city. I want to live in a city, but by myself. So I have this friend, let's call her Amy. We've been friends for a couple of years through university and work. She is fun and positive, and I considered her a good friend. To cut a long story short, I got offered a job teaching in the Pacific Islands as a teacher. Of course, I accepted the job, and I told my family and friends, including Amy. All of my friends joked about coming too, and I always said, yes, please come too, knowing that no one would. However, Amy took it literally, and within the next hour, she sent her CV out to a bunch of schools, including the one I got offered a job at, and then she got a job there too. I was upset at first, and I probably still am. This was a unique experience that I always dreamed of, and I kind of wanted to just keep it for myself. As selfish as that sounds, but I worked my butt off and I put myself out there for this job. Fast forward to now, and because the school pays for our accommodation, we three are living in a small apartment, and me and Amy are working at the school. Like, she lives with you? After 3 months here, instead of being a nice and fun friend, she now purposely excludes me from things that she knows I would enjoy doing. Example, she's been playing my favorite sport without telling me so I wouldn't try to join the team. She makes little digs at me constantly at home. She's super loud around the house and is always rushing around. She's a very intense energy to be around. My partner and I are super calm and quiet people. She's also rude and demanding to the principal at work, which is super embarrassing. Today after work, I was so tired and excited to go straight to bed for a nap, and I walked inside the house and she had a group of our colleagues around. They were all laughing, eating snacks, and making cocktails. I got so upset that number one, I was so tired and I had to deal with people in my private space while feeling like that. And number two, I wasn't even invited to the party. I went to my room and I shut the door, and they all started whispering and laughing and ran upstairs. What are we, in high school? It breaks my heart that I essentially invited her to come with us, and she just keeps making me upset or angry so much of the time. Am I being selfish or over the top? Am I the a-hole for wanting to tell her she needs to remember that she followed us here, so she needs to start treating us with more respect? We have the final update. So it has been 6 weeks since my last post, and a lot has changed. The general consensus from people on here was that everyone sucked in this situation, and the best thing to do would be to find a new place. After the initial annoyance of realizing we would have to find a new place, I contacted my employer to ask if my boyfriend and I could move to a new place since they pay for our accommodation, citing some unelaborated challenges as being the reason for moving. However, my boyfriend boyfriend and I were away for a week, and when I sent the email, my employer ended up telling Amy that we were wanting to move out before we had the chance to. I received a message from Amy and apologized for not telling her, and we spoke to her about it when we were back. My boyfriend and I didn't go into any detail with her about why we were leaving due to the fact that we work together, but also in past observations of her, she doesn't take ownership for her behavior and can't admit when she's wrong. Now my boyfriend and I are living on our own in a really nice modern studio apartment that has sea views, and we can hear the ocean from our room. It is so peaceful. I am also now realizing our relationship was on the brink before we moved out on our own due to my anger and lack of privacy. Now I'm the happiest I've ever been in our relationship. As well as this, since my original post, a few weeks ago I contacted a good friend and ex-flatmate of Amy with my concerns about her. This friend told me that she was treated in the exact same way by Amy and feels mentally more positive knowing it is Amy who is the problem. Also, my boss came to me this afternoon and brought up a huge raft of concerns that she's having about Amy as an employee. Sounds like Amy might be the problem here.
Doy.
My boss said she's always in the office demanding things. She is pushy, expects a lot from them, isn't doing her job tasks properly, and asks to leave work early because she apparently has no work to do, while the rest of us leave late trying to keep up with all of the work. Since having some space and now speaking to other people about Amy, I am realizing she's not someone I can consider a true friend. However, I will remain polite to her while I still have to be around her. Well then. If I was Amy, I would not have wanted in on that deal. Knowing you would have to live with another couple the whole time in this experience could not be me. I ain't trying to third wheel in my own home, you know? That's not fun for anybody. You guys know what time it is. It's hydration station time. I'm hydrating with some green tea that always looks like urine. Cheers. Drink your water. Let me know what's in your cup though if you're drinking something else. If it's a shot, you know the rule. You have to do two because one's for me. Dollarama sticker is still on this. These stickers are super glued on, I swear. I should get some Goo Gone or whatever it's called. Next story. Am I being the a-hole for being upset that my fiance chose to fantasize over another woman right before seeing me? Me, 25 female, and my fiance, 28 male, have been together for 5 years. We had a bit of a dry spell in the bedroom earlier this year, which we've both actively been working on, and things in our sex life have never been better. A few weeks ago, he told me that he wanted me to make more of an effort in the bedroom, and admittedly, I was lacking, so I have been making an effort to do that happily. Last night, I tried to initiate, but he said, "I'm tired, we can make some time work tomorrow." I fully respect that, and we cuddled and we went to sleep. No issues there. Tonight, my partner phoned me for the end of the day. Hi-ho. Hi-ho, hi-ho. Off to the bedroom we go. I told him I'd call again when I'm leaving work to meet him. So about half an hour to an hour later, I call him to let him know that I was on the way. When I arrived, I tried to make a move on him. In response, he said, "Nah, I just had a wank." And I said, "Oh, okay, no worries." A bit confused given our plans, but whatever. We went and watched our TV show and we ate dinner. I was a little hurt, but I had moved on by later in the night. I had absolutely zero problem with him doing whatever in his own time, watching corn, etc. That's none of my business, and I'm not saying that he can't do that. And he obviously has the right to say no to sex as well. I respect that completely. Admittedly, I did feel a little bit hurt because he knew I was coming over, but I didn't say anything to him about this because I know it's silly and I would work through the emotion by the end of the night. Fast forward, about an hour later, we were cuddling in bed. He asked me what was wrong. I told him nothing. Because again, I know how I was feeling was silly, but he kept pressuring me until I eventually said, calmly, "I'm just feeling a little bit upset that you chose to fantasize over another woman right before seeing me instead of actually just being intimate with your fiance." I probably could have worded it better, but I also made it very clear that I had no issue with him doing that in general. I'm not trying to tell him what he can and can't do, and I'm not angry or having a go at him. I'm just answering his question. Well, he absolutely lost his shite, yelling at me, calling me stupid and an idiot. Take the ring off. and that he can't do anything right, which is far from the truth. He says this a lot whenever I try to address concerns. He was telling me that he's just tired and told me to stop being so insecure. I just said, okay, I'm not trying to have an argument. I'm just telling you how I feel because you asked me. I didn't mean to piss you off. I had to go home either way, but I had planned to stay with him for at least another hour before this incident. However, right after this, he turns to me and says, "You can go home now." Girl, you're married. This is the person you're marrying? Like, this is our way of communicating when we're about to get married? This is crazy to me. I said, okay, and I went to give him a kiss goodbye, and he leaned away. I asked him if he was okay, and he just completely ignored me. I wasn't about to press him on it, so I just said goodbye, and I went home. Am I in the wrong for telling him I felt upset when he was the one asking? I didn't mean to piss him off. I didn't yell or act crazy or cause a scene, and I wasn't arguing. I'm just really confused. So am I the a-hole? Edit. After further reflection, I realized my issue is not with what happened before I arrived, but with his reaction to me answering his persistent question of what's wrong. Again, I didn't want to say anything to him at all in the first place because I know it's stupid. Additionally, he could have responded with, "I see your point of view, but that wasn't my intention." And that would have been it. We would drop it and move on. Instead, he completely lost it and flipped it to him being mad at me for what? When he asked me what was wrong, I was literally bear hugging him as well. It's not as if I was sitting in the corner sulking, ignoring him, or soliciting any behavior to make him think that I was mad, other than I was maybe a little bit quiet, but I'm also on a few hours of sleep, so I'm exhausted. Blow up or not, I would have been quiet tonight. Girl, I can't believe you're even asking if you're the a-hole here, but sure. We have a final update, and it came 3 years later. Raise your hand if you think they broke up. I'm honestly hoping they did. There's red flags all around. Okay, so in summary, the commenters on my original post were correct. The behavior did in fact get worse after we married. You got married. It got so much worse. I experienced what I and my therapist would describe as emotional, psychological, and financial abuse, which escalated exponentially after we got married and moved in together. I lived constantly walking on eggshells, made to feel like nothing I did was right, countless threats of hurting me and himself, intimidation, belittling, disrespect. He also had a adult video addiction, constant attempts to isolate me. I suspected him of cheating, and honestly, the list goes on. Looking back, not all of these were present before we got married, but as many of you said, the signs were there and I unfortunately ignored them for longer than I would like to admit. So what happened? Well, we got married, his behavior escalated, I grew a backbone, and I stopped being a doormat. He didn't like that. Said I needed therapy to fix myself and us. I went. Therapist affirmed everything I was feeling. In short, told me she was very concerned for my safety. We started making a plan for me to leave, and in short, a few months later, things ended between us. That was over a year ago, and I have never looked back. I cannot put into words how happy I am, how free I feel, and how much of that relationship was affecting so many aspects of my life that I didn't realize at the time. Hindsight is always 20/20. Many of us, myself included, have stayed in relationships longer than we probably should have, and then when you get out of it, you're like, how did I stay for as long as I did? You're almost mad at yourself because you're like, come on, you should have left like 2 years before you did. Hindsight's 20/20. We have to sometimes just go through it, learn our lesson, reach the point. I'm happy you're safe and I'm happy you're out of it. Gotta say. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to apologize to my brother? Well, what'd he do? What'd you do? What'd you do? My 32 male brother, 29 male, has been a complete pain in the ass for a long time. He decided to marry his high school girlfriend right after graduation, even though everyone told him that it was a bad idea. He refused to go to college because he said he had a revolutionary idea that would make him a billionaire, going as far to say that he would be the next Elon Musk. As if that wasn't enough, he convinced our parents to give him the money that would have gone to his education for his supposedly indigenous business venture, which ended up failing, so all that money was lost. In addition, he refuses to get a job, saying that he would rather be his own boss than sell his time to someone else, which means he is unemployed. On top of that, when his wife gave birth to their son, he left all the responsibilities to her and our parents, constantly going out to God knows where and coming back late at night. In November of last year, it was discovered that he had impregnated. Oh my God, it was discovered that he got a 19-year-old waitress pregnant, so he and his wife are now in the middle of a divorce. Why am I telling you all of this? Because it was our mother's birthday last month and I decided to visit to celebrate. I live in another city for work. While we were having dinner, I mentioned that I got a promotion at work and my brother sarcastically said it must feel good to have such an easy life. According to him, I was handed every opportunity for success while he had to struggle. Therefore, my achievements are not genuine. When I heard that, I just exploded. I told him that we both had the same opportunities, only unlike him, I wasn't a complete dumbass who ruined his life with stupid decisions. I berated him for everything I mentioned before and told him that only one responsible for his crappy life was himself. Things escalated to a point where we almost came to blows, but our dad managed to calm things down before it came to that. The next day, he left to stay with the 19-year-old girl that he got pregnant, and according to my parents, he hasn't been back since. Apparently, he gave my parents an ultimatum. If I don't apologize, they will never meet their new grandchild. What a sick thing to do. That truly does not surprise me just by the sounds of his maturity. Because of this, my parents have been begging me every day to apologize to him, but I refuse. If I apologize, then he will be justified in his immaturity. I've discussed this with several friends. Some of them tell me to stand my ground, and others tell me to do it for my parents so that they don't suffer. Am I the a-hole? Ooh, this one's interesting. What do you guys think? What would you do? Oh, see, I would just be so like, I do not want to give him that satisfaction, and I totally feel for the parents, but if anything, the parents should be mad at him for throwing out this ultimatum out there. Are you kidding me? We have the final update and it came a year later. What happened in this year? Since it's been a year since I posted, I thought it'd be a good idea to give an update on what has happened since then. In the end, I decided I wasn't going to apologize. Well, 3 months after that, my parents called me to tell me that my brother had moved back home. My brother had been staying with his new girlfriend's parents, who finally had enough and kicked both of them out, so my brother was forced to swallow his pride and move back in with my parents, along with his new pregnant girlfriend. Honestly, I feel really bad for her. She's a naive girl who had the misfortune of getting pregnant at 19 by a deadbeat like my brother. A year has already gone by and my brother seems to have gotten over his anger, but now he's trying to brag about the fact that he's managed to win over and get 2 women pregnant while I'm still single. I know this because that's exactly what he did last month when I visited our parents for our mother's birthday. This time I just decided to ignore him. I'm too old to fall for his childish games, and that's about it. My brother hasn't learned anything and is still a burden to our parents, and that's the life he chose. The only good thing is that I now have a new niece who is absolutely adorable. For those who asked about my nephew, don't worry, both my parents and I are still in his life. With my parents visiting him regularly, I make sure to send him birthday and Christmas gifts every year, though now that he is a sister, my expenses have doubled. Yes. We love spoiling our nieces and nephews, don't we? It's so fun. I love spoiling my friends' kids. One of my best friends has a little guy and another one on the way, and he's my bestie. Like, you guys saw, I got him that red Jeep. I dropped hundreds of dollars on that thing, but I would never spend that on myself. Let me know your verdict on if they were the a-hole or not, you guys. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I will see you tomorrow. Be there or be square.